Yeah.
So now we can see there is information available in your loan application table. Okay. Now in the same way I can insert more data, right?
Yeah.
Just modifying the values. So if I go back and execute the script for selecting the data, now it is showing three records. So simple. So create the table and then insert the records, and if you view the data, it is showing you what is the data inside it. Simple. You don't need to know much about you will be able to know more information about how to work with SQL Server as we learn multiple things here. Okay. So, but to start with working on SQL Server, this is the information you need to know.
Okay.
You need to know how to create table. You need to know how to store information in table. You need to know how to view the data and modify data, and if you want to modify the data.
Okay.
So how I can modify the data if I want. Suppose, for example, I entered zip code wrong for, I entered incorrect zip code for applicant ID 3. How can I modify that? To modify it, simply write an update query. Update table name set column name zip equal to 65. But if I write this statement, what happens is it will update data for all records because it doesn't know which record it has to update the data for. So I will have to specify which record I want to update the data in. So I will use a where clause where applicant ID equal to 3. So applicant ID is nothing but the column in the same table. So I am updating zip code for applicant ID 3. So one row affected. If we go back and execute this command, select command now, you can see the zip code is updated. So it's not only just one column. You can also update more than one column at the same update query. Zip, and I also want to update address line 2. Right now this is a null value, right? So what I'll do, okay, I will add address line 2 with an apartment number. Select the part you want to execute, just execute that. Now one row affected. Now to view the data from select the table, just execute the select query again. Now you can see address line 2 is updated. Okay, very simple. Select, insert and update. Okay, so now we have seen three things, like, right? So how to view the data, modify the data, insert the data. Now let's see how to delete the data from table. So I say like, okay, I don't want information for applicant ID 3 in my database. Okay, so simple. The same way, delete loan application table name where applicant ID equal to 3, and select the query, and that I just executed 2 times, that's why it's saying 0, but so it's already deleted. Now we can insert more records by using insert. Select, insert, update and delete. So they will help you to modify the data inside the database. Okay, so now this is like this. But how you can use this information from your .NET application or Biztalk application? How can you insert data into these tables directly from Biztalk? How can you do that? There are multiple ways how you can do that. You can directly access this table from your .NET program and insert data or modify the data. Which means that program directly accesses the table and locks the table and modify the data. Why I am saying locking the table? Because suppose if there are 2 programs running and both programs want to access the same table at the same time, it will be a problem. Because we don't know which application is trying to delete which record at what time. So any application which is trying to modify the data in it, it will try to lock the table with application. Which means the application locked the table. Now, suppose application crashed in between. So the lock remains with application and somebody has to manually release it in order to free it. So other application can access it and do modifications or anything like that. So that's a problem with directly accessing the table and modifying the contents of it. So that is why they came up with a concept called stored procedures. So the advantage with stored procedures is, a stored procedure is a compiled SQL Server program that resides directly on the database. So in case if any application want to modify data inside a database, they can use stored procedures. So even though the application is crashed, but the SQL procedure is residing on the SQL server, it will not crash unless the database crash itself, in which case we don't do anything. But because the stored procedure is also residing on the same location where this table is, it will help in cases or scenarios when the application is crashed. So we need to create stored procedure to access database tables and data from an application, whether it's .NET application or Biztalk application, Java application, take any application. So that is one way. So, and one way is directly accessing the table from your application. The other way is accessing table and modifying the contents of it by using stored procedures. So how we can create stored procedure? Simple. Expand programmability, you can see stored procedures, right? So right click, just click new stored procedure. So whatever is inside green is comments, so just delete that. We don't need comments. Okay, so now I want to create a procedure to insert a new application into the database. Okay, so what I have to do is create procedure